Welcome to Songs of Experience, a Bob Dylan podcast where we explore the man and the music one song at a time. I'm your host, Henry Bernstein. This is the last show of 2025, and I wanted to share some reflections on my most recent Bob Dylan experience with some close friends, respected colleagues, and Songs of Experience all-stars. So last month, I had the privilege to scratch off my last Bob Dylan bucket list item and see him play in Europe. My family took a magical vacation to Ireland over Thanksgiving week, basically for the purpose of getting me to see Bob Dylan in Dublin, Ireland. I know my wife is the coolest. I got to share this amazing experience with two folks who I just love going to Dylan shows with. That's, of course, Erin Callahan and Michael Glover Smith. Erin, you may remember, is the magnificent host of the Bob Dylan podcast and videocast Infinity Goes Up on Trial. Check out the episode Plans Change, Pal, to see your buddy Henry talk about Bob Dylan and wrestling. And of course, Michael, one of my favorite independent filmmakers right here in Chicago, director of Relative and the upcoming Hecla, will also be releasing a book on Bob Dylan and film in 2026. And you can look for that and more information on that right here in a couple months. Folks who enjoy my post-show field reports will recognize Michael as kind of my ride or die Bob Dylan guy, taking a lot of road trips together, seen a lot of Bob Dylan shows. And of course, he was my first guest right here on Songs of Experience, and he had the chutzpah to talk about Tempest in episode 1. Of course, you can go back and listen to that great discussion of, I would say, an often overlooked lengthy Bob Dylan song. So I sat down with these two and hashed out our whirlwind dreamlike evening for the three of us. Let's check it out. Well, you guys are here because, I mean, you're my ride or die in Dublin, right? So we all three of us were in Dublin together for the final 2025 Bob Dylan show. I think Michael had predicted it would be the final 2025 the final Rough and Rowdy Ways show, but just 2025. Thank you both for jumping on. Tell me, how did you get to Dublin? Not physically, obviously you came on a plane, but what was
First
your
class.
Yes, we're well aware of that, Erin. Well, Erin, other than in Polaris with the beautiful people, how did it come about that you were going to Dublin to see Bob Dylan on November 25th, 2025 for the last Rough and Rowdy Way show of the year?
I think there is a pattern of Mike saying to us, "It's the last Rough and Rowdy Rowdy show ever. We have to go. We have to go." And so that was the beginning. And then I went back and forth. So Paul Haney and I decided we were going to go together. And then we decided not to, and then we were going to, and then not to, and then we couldn't find tickets. And then I think it was in our Chicago group text that day, because I know it was in my office. And Henry, you were like, "Just go. You just need to go. You can find a ticket." And I was like, you know what? I am going to go. And that's really, I think, between Paul and you and Mike, that was the thing that kind of, got me there.
That's great. Yeah, I mean the great Dylan travel person Sue Osborne always says, "Just go. You figure out the rest of it later."
Right.
I think that's great advice. That's amazing. Mike, what was your journey to Dublin?
My journey to Dublin was that I had seen Dylan once before in Europe in the year 2000. So 25 years ago, almost exactly, I saw a show in Paris, France, and that was mind-blowing. And so I figured 25 years later, it's time to go back. He loves Europe and he loves Ireland. And I had never been to Ireland, but I always knew he had kind of a special relationship to Irish culture, Irish music, Irish literature. He's profoundly influenced by all of those things. And I thought, you know what? It's the last show of the year. Last shows are oftentimes very special. And it's in Dublin, which is a place that's very close to his heart. So it seems like a good bet for a European show to fly to.
For sure. I mean, yeah, and I think it didn't hurt that I was sitting with you in breakfast, and I was like, okay, I have permission to go.
Yeah,
yeah.
Shout out to Mimi's in North Center.
Shout out to Mimi's Cafe in North Center in Chicago. Yeah, I've had this short bucket list of Bob Dylan things for a while. The first one was the Beacon, seeing him at the Beacon Theater. And I checked that off a couple years ago. And then seeing him at the Gorge, I checked that off. And seeing him on his birthday check that off. And then the only thing that was left was Europe, which was the big one. I really thought that would never happen. And then he announced his fall tour, and I was like, wait a minute, it's Thanksgiving week. And so like I pitched it, like, hey, do you want to go to Ireland for the weekend? My wife was like, yeah, let's do it. And then she's like, why? So, then I had to recap my bucket list. So we all made it there by some miracle, which was amazing. Erin, you got to spend time with my family when we arrived and see me at my worst, where I felt like I was going to die.
No, but literally when I arrived, I was in the immigration line and I was like, I see Lizzie. I don't, and I texted you, I don't see you yet. So I mean, like right from the very minute I landed, I was like, I was in Henry's world. And I love your family. I love the kids. And it was nice to spend time with Lizzie. And it was great.
It was lovely. That was definitely like a highlight for me. And
Yeah,
Mike, we had
me too.
seats that we liked that were pretty good. I woke up at 3 in the morning to get Dylan tickets when they went on sale. And then they like did that thing where they released a whole block of tickets, probably the ones that they were trying to sell for $800 that people weren't buying.
Exactly. They used to be VIP and then they became regular seats.
Yeah, should we be waiting for our VIP merch?
Probably.
So luckily we got up to the fourth row thanks to some fast movement by you. And a hot tip from some other folks, and we kind of all converged on this pub in Dublin. Everyone kind of arrived almost at the same time. It was almost
Mhm.
dreamlike. Like Aaron, you and I and Laura Tenchard arrived, and then Paul arrived, and then Mike walked in, and he just sort of appeared like from Chicago. There was Mike all of a sudden, and it was amazing. And then like we got to meet all these interesting people. So I wanted to get each of your top three moments from the experience, and that could be the show itself or something adjacent to the show. We're going to do it David Letterman style, so we're going to go to from 3 to 1, and then we'll talk about some other stuff. So, Erin, why don't you kick us off? What are your top three Bob Dylan in Dublin things?
All right. So I think you guys kind of get into the molecular level of like different versions and things like that. And I love that. And I can definitely do that. But I think, and I'm writing a review for the Dylan review, and there may be some crossover here because I've been thinking about it a lot. And I returned to the journal. So, Mike, when I was waiting for you on Wednesday morning at the airport, I wrote a little bit down. And I think the community, like that's probably, I don't know if that's number three or number one. So I may be out of order, but um, Tuesday morning, I woke up and I went for a coffee and sat in a cafe and wrote. And that was the thing that I wrote about. And I wrote about it again on Wednesday after the show, that things are really hard right now. Doesn't matter what side of the political spectrum you're on, like things are divisive and they're hard and things cost too much and people are at each other's throats. And if you work in education, it's a difficult time to just be, to
Hmm.
work, to go to work in some ways other than the students. And I was thinking about this beautiful community. Like it feels almost like another Gilded Age, right? Like we're in this where the rich are getting richer and people are being squeezed and things seem so corrupt. But and I'm not looking to Dylan for answers because the answer kind of is the performance, that we're all there and it's just there are people who are interesting and creative and brilliant and happy, and it's just a joyful experience. And any city that he's in becomes almost like a small town because like we were bumping into people at the Book of Kells that we knew in the Dylan community, and then walking like just in a cafe I would bump into like Charles Reed or something, and it was just like it's such a joyful experience that all that other stuff melts away. And so
That's
that was like
beautiful.
one of the biggest things for me. I'm in love with Anton Fig's drumming. That's another thing.
Okay,
Yeah,
great.
I'm just like I have fallen in love with him again, not for the but it's just like I was just grooving on the rhythm in that entire show, so that was great. And then kind of to go back to the community, I texted you guys a little bit earlier about the gentleman sitting next to me, and I won't use his name, but I have him in throughout my notes, and he talked throughout the thing, and at one point,
He got
the
beat up
woman
by our friend.
he did get beat up. I mean, she was very. She started with, "Are you going to talk the whole show?" And then she just kind of tapped him and said, "Stop talking." And then when he talked, in an emotional moment, this was the sequence of songs of "It's All Over Now, Baby Blue," I've made up my mind to give myself to you, Mother of Muses. That was probably, other than the encore, just such a beautiful sequence of like almost an artist statement.
Mm-hmm.
And when Dylan played harmonica, he turned to me and very loudly said, "Does he always do this?" And I had like tears in my eyes and chills, and she walloped him, wallop. And
with
and
her open
with her hand, she was behind us, and she just like
God.
smacked him, "Shut up!" Like she just was so. But when I thought about it, he was just a guy who was seeking connection, like we all are,
right.
and he was doing it like many of us do through Dylan, and he was so excited to share the experience and be with someone. And it was like that. I feel badly for him that that he didn't know the
You just didn't
etiquette
know
of
the
a
etiquette.
Dylan
Yeah.
show,
Yeah.
right? And I did tell him like, "Hey, bottle that up. It's great you're excited, but we'll talk about it after because we're all having this experience." But that guy, he was trying to find the community that we all do,
Mm-hmm.
and that number one was the sequence of those three songs were just magnificent,
Mm-hmm.
and his voice, and his piano playing. There are a bunch of things, but those would probably be my top three.
Amazing. Mike, top three.
Top three. So I'm supposed to do them all in a row.
Do them all in a row.
I wasn't in a row.
Okay, so I think for me, I'm gonna go molecular on your.
I knew you would. That's why I didn't.
For me, number three was the new arrangement of My Own Version of You. I was blown away by it, and I'm not the kind of guy who listens to a ton of bootlegs. So I had heard that it had been evolving over the course of this tour. Adam at one point said there was a version that sounded like a sea shanty. But then I think it kind of evolved away from that. And I don't know if the version that we heard was the first time he played that particular arrangement, but if it wasn't, he clearly come up with it somewhat, recently. And it was perfect. It was perfectly worked out. And I was shocked because I hadn't listened to a single song from this tour with the exception of two of the covers. I listened to Lakes of Pontchartrain and the Van Morrison song because I knew he wasn't going to do those again, but I wanted to be surprised. And I was blown away because the last version of My Own Version of You I heard was in the spring when he was doing it, where it was basically just him on piano and then Anton doing like
those fills. Yeah,
the fills, kind of playing in free time.
Yeah,
and this version was much, more tightly structured, and the guitars were much louder. They still gave Dylan, of course, a lot of space to sing the lines, but at the conclusion of every line, there were two kind of big chords that came crashing in. So it had this kind of ominous sound where it kind of, it was kind of chugging along, and then at the end of every line, it was like bop, 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 like that. And
was that the one that you said reminded you of Forgetful Heart?
Yeah, it did. It reminded me of Forgetful Heart from the Outlaw.
The sort of thing. Yeah,
totally.
Guitars crashing in at the end of each line, and it's like those guitarists know not to step on Dylan's vocals when he's singing. So I kind of wonder if, we don't know how Dylan communicates to his band what he wants to do, but maybe
I don't think they do either.
Yeah, I think it's purely nonverbal. Yeah, but who knows? Maybe he said something to them like, "Let's do to this what we did to Forgetful Heart."
Right.
And both of those things kind of also remind me of Cold Irons Bound.
Right.
From the Masked and Anonymous version, which is kind of like stripped down, yet also, punctuated by the band. So that would be my number three. My number two is It's All Over Now, Baby Blue. My God. Again, I haven't heard any other versions, so I don't know how similar it is.
Did you get chills as soon as he started that? I
lost it, and I knew what it was. Unlike
Yeah.
My Own Version of You, I had no clue what it was. with Baby Blue, I heard the melody in his piano playing,
Yeah.
Yeah, there's a
and
he added like a minor in there, but yes, it's that melody is unmistakable.
it's unmistakable. And he sang it in a like a descending melody. You know,
Yeah.
it's like a
Yeah.
the highway is for gamblers, better use your
Hmm.
sense. You know,
Yes. Yes. Yeah,
take
and you
what
you said that it
you
reminded you of
can.
the 2019 Girl from the North Country.
Yes, absolutely,
Yeah.
absolutely. So beautiful, beautifully sung,
Hmm.
beautiful harmonica. There's always, at every Dylan show, there's always one moment where he sings very tenderly,
Mhm.
Hmm.
and it just, it just
It was captivating. Like it
Yeah.
just,
captivating.
it took
Yes,
my breath away.
absolutely. To me,
Yeah.
that was kind of like I don't know, the most poignant, I think, moment of the
Mm.
whole night. And also, when you think about that song, there's so much history to it. It's
Hmm.
kind of like when he does certain songs that are really old like that, you kind of he's bringing the history of every time he's ever sung it. It's
Mhm.
like
Right.
this is the song he did at Newport 65 at the end of the set
Right.
to say goodbye to the folk revival movement. He's
Mhm.
saying that's
Right.
all over. So so he just brings that, with him. My number one favorite moment is not a song performance at all. It's a gesture that he made at the very end of the show after a rainy night in Soho. Which I'm assuming we're going to talk about in
Yes,
a
that's
few
a
minutes.
whole separate section.
Yes. The band did their, typical lineup thing, where they stand there and soak up the applause. And Dylan just took his right hand and he put it over his heart. And I just lost it,
Mhm.
because, I mean, with Dylan, every gesture he makes is open to interpretation. But so there's a lot of, when we talk about Dylan, there's always a lot of speculation. But for me, that gesture was him saying that he loved Dublin. But more importantly, I think he was also saying, I feel the love that you gave me
Mhm.
throughout this performance, and
Yeah.
I'm going to keep it with me. That's how I interpreted that. And that was just beautiful to see.
But to that point, Mike, there, like, I was watching around the venue and the security guards were bobbing their heads and clapping along. I've never seen security do that at a Dylan
No,
Wow.
show.
usually they're
And they
so
were
annoying.
100% into it,
Yeah.
right? And
Yeah.
so it was just so beautiful. And then I want to go back to your point about It's All Over Now, Baby Blue, because that was definitely a highlight for me. And I was thinking about it in the moment, even with my seatmate talking to me. But it reminded me of that conversation you and I had, Henry, in Memphis, when you were talking about the harmonica being the conduit. Like that's his voice,
Mhm.
that whether he's playing it in 2025 or 1965 in Newport, that's the sound. And
Yeah.
we, like that's that, like you're saying, Michael, it's the history. And
It's
so I
the
was
one
thinking
time
about,
you get to hear the like OG Bob Dylan sound exactly the same as now Bob Dylan when he's playing harmonica.
correct.
Yeah.
And that
Yes.
was so moving. And then playing, I made up my mind to give myself to you, which to me, it seemed like that sequence of three songs, even though it's a set list that he's been playing, but the only time I heard it was in Dublin, was that maybe, shifting away from the folk movement is shifting away from being part of the movement, right? Where now he's getting away from that and he's dedicating himself to his music and to his art. And then the song after that is Mother of Muses. And I was like, he's like imploring the Mother of Muses to help him, complete that task,
Mhm.
that dedication. And I was like, this is just, that sequence was just so moving to me.
Yeah. I mean, I remember when Mike, when we were driving home from West Lafayette, Indiana last spring, and you said something about certain songs like sort of being the mirrors of each other, and I think you were explicitly talking about "It's All Over Now, Baby Blue" and "I've Made Up My Mind to Give Myself to You," and
Mm.
that like he's sort of saying goodbye in "It's All Over Now, Baby Blue," and then completely relinquishing himself back
Yeah,
Mhm.
yeah.
in I made up my mind to give myself to you. So
Yeah,
yeah,
they work together as kind of like a little yeah, they're companion pieces like
yeah,
within.
Right.
salt and
And
pepper.
I also feel that way about Black Rider and My Own Version of You, you know, because those are back to back as
Hmm.
well. And that's kind of the dark and scary part of
Yeah,
this.
yeah,
Set
that's the
lists.
spooky set list. I wanted to I would respond to two things. So for mine, my top three was sort of a combination. It was also My Own Version of You, It's All Over Now, Baby Blue, and then the whole community thing, like that, the whole experience. So like no shocker that the three of us are all kind of on the same wavelength. But um the thing about it, it's sort of like Bob Dylan has, you know, if you buy into the Rough and Rowdy Ways tour, you're buying into a sort of built-in community of understanding a certain piece of art as it's presented without having to judge it and be mad at it, or like it's just this is what we are experiencing. We're experiencing the Rough and Rowdy Ways tour show. It's like a Broadway show almost. And everyone who's there and into it, I think, is having a shared experience, and that's the community. It's funny though, because some people like they just don't know how to behave. Like the guys behind me, this one guy, he's like, "Oh, Key West, I love this song," and he like cheers to his mate, and then talk throughout the whole thing, but like
Yeah,
about how much he loved it. It's like,
yeah.
dude,
Listen to the song if you
yeah.
love it that
And
much.
it's like,
And then would give a standing ovation at the
yes,
end.
every song, every
Well, at
song.
least he was into it, you
Super
know?
into it, super into it.
Yeah.
So, so I guess like, I really feel like a connection to the people who are experiencing it in the way that I am, but I also I didn't get as enraged as I would on like the American tours of Rough and Rowdy when people were just completely misbehaved. Like at least this guy was into it. Like he loves Key West. Like,
Yeah.
Right.
so
It's, you know, I think we should also talk about the fact that this was a pretty large venue.
oh, huge.
I
This
mean,
the biggest Rough and Rowdy
Yeah.
it,
venue?
biggest one I've ever seen. Yeah, it
It
was.
was bigger than West Lafayette, Indiana,
Oh
right?
yeah, oh yeah. It was about 9,000, I think, the
Mm.
capacity.
And it was
So
pretty sold out.
it's an arena. I mean, when he plays in the States, he only plays this show at theaters, which
Hmm.
normally hold between like 2,000 and 3,000.
Right.
There's one on the upcoming tour that only holds 1,100. I think it might be Bowling Green, which is like
That's going to be
very
amazing.
I know.
Yeah.
But I thought the audience was extremely well behaved. I mean,
They were
I read
wonderful.
reports online later that someone got kicked out for fighting and blah blah
Okay,
blah.
wait, I have something to say to that
Go
because
ahead.
I was in first class flying over, but I was not in first class at the show. You guys were in the fourth row.
Yeah.
Fourth
And
row, yeah,
yeah,
We
so
didn't
I'm
see
just
all the shenanigans
yeah,
behind us. We
yeah,
didn't see any of it. We had no
none
idea.
of it.
The only thing
Okay, so
Michael saw
there
other
is
than
like
Bob Dylan was my jaw dropping during
yeah.
My Own Version of You.
Okay,
right. No,
well,
I just go
maybe
ahead,
I'm
go ahead.
also maybe I'm biased because like maybe I'm projecting a kind of romanticized notion of the Irish audience, and
Right.
I kind of want them to
I
be
was trying not to pay attention, but there was something over to my right, and I see like all these people like running up, and there was security, and it took a while for them to like wrestle this guy out of the row,
Oh my
and
yeah
God.
then they were standing at the end of the row, and to kind of get him, I don't know, like down the stairs, and they wound up like dragging him down the stairs where he kind of like bump, like he was like bumping
yeah
on his heels maybe.
Oh my
And then
God.
another gentleman, I think it may have been a medical issue because he came down very slowly, or I think Laura said that maybe he was going so slowly because he wanted to hear the song. So he was just kind of creeping down the stairs, which I can totally relate to. But the first guy, I mean, there was a huge ruckus. And I
Oh
was
my
trying not to pay
God.
attention because I was like thinking, I want to watch the show. I'm
Right.
going to pay attention. Don't pay attention to the misbehaving people. But yeah,
yeah.
there was definitely at least those two folks that I saw
Well, I
How far
sorted
back
out.
were you?
I can't remember. I never had my ticket because Laura got my ticket and Laura scanned my ticket. and
They had to do paper.
Laura and Brian Walsh. And so we just kind of shuffled around. I don't even remember what row I was in.
Mhm.
They were like, there's your seat. I was like, cool, there's my seat. And I just sat down and
But
stayed
you could
there.
see us from where you were.
Who couldn't see you? Every time we go to a show together, I just look, I mean, if I'm in front of you or back of you, I just have to like do a 180. I'm like, there he is. Because you're so
It's
tall.
like wow,
Well,
there's Big Bird, and
well,
Kermit.
And also, you're very expressive. I love that. I love watching you at a show because you just, like you said one time, you have to show Bob love.
Yeah.
you do. I mean,
Yeah,
I think he felt it. I think he
of
felt it.
course.
That's why he put his hand on his heart at the end
Because
of
of
the show.
you.
I think, yeah, exactly. He thought I was
Yeah.
Irish. He didn't know. No, the last thing I want to say about the crowd, I feel like whenever I go to a Rough and Rowdy show in America, maybe not the Cadillac Palace Theater, but like the smaller towns, I always feel like the people around me don't know what they're in for.
Oh,
And,
totally.
and also don't know how to process what's happening.
Right.
Whereas I felt like around us in Dublin, people were like quiet, and aside from the two guys behind Henry who were drinking and talking, but loved it.
They loved it.
Everyone else seemed like very respectful and
Yes.
but very attentive in a way that I thought was different than the typical Rough and Rowdy audience in America.
Yeah, I mean the Rough and Rowdy audience in America I find very aggravating. It's a lot of season ticket holders of those various college town theaters or something that just have no idea what's going on, or like, and I always find like I'm near them, like
Yeah.
in like the merch line or the
You have that energy. They find you.
they find me. Yeah, I'm like,
Or
who are you?
people who they're like checking Dylan off of their bucket list or
Yeah,
whatever.
Right.
which I think
Right.
is good. Like I think that's
Yeah.
cool. Like I did that for my children, like I think you should check him off a bucket list, but you should also be prepared for what you're going to see. Like
That's what I was going
I
to
think
say.
that's the responsible concert going thing to do. It's like I guess they just assume because he's of that generation, it's like going to see McCartney or the Stones, where it's like the set list, it's all the hits. Like I guess they just assume that. I don't know.
Yeah.
I do, because there was one guy in Dallas, and this was again a season ticket holder kind of thing, and he said, is he gonna, first of all, he was in my seat and he was a jerk about moving because I was on the aisle. And then he said, is he gonna play anything I know? I was like, I don't know what you know.
Read my mind. Tell me what I.
It's like,
Yeah,
I'm
yeah.
like, is he gonna play like the hits? No, he's not.
You're like, do you know Brownsville, girl?
Right. Like, read a set list, man. Like,
Yeah.
yeah, he was
Yeah.
just not, he left in the middle. He was not
Oh,
feeling
one
it.
of those. Oh.
Yeah.
Wow.
Yeah.
I've benefited from those people that during that 2015 run when he was doing two sets, there was one show I couldn't get into, and I just waited, listened outside, and then a guy who didn't like it gave me his ticket.
Nice.
um,
Wow.
but there was something about the Irish crowd all over Ireland. People would ask us, "What do why are you here? What are you here for? Just vacation? Why now? Because it was such an odd time to travel." And everywhere I went, I I went I like proudly said I was here to see Bob Dylan in Dublin, and every single goddamn person knew who Bob Dylan was
Yeah.
super excited, knew the
Yeah.
show was happening, and was happy for me that I went. Like
Yeah.
including the immigration customs, like on the American side before you get on the plane to Dublin. He was like, "Oh, that's great," and that is not something I experience here. Like outside of my Bob Dylan friends, thank God I have Bob Dylan friends. I love you both so much. Like
Right
I'm
back
the
at
Bob
you.
Dylan guy. And so like what are you doing? I'm going to see Bob Dylan. They're like, who's that? Is he still alive?
Yeah.
Really? You're going to see Bob Dylan? Like crazy things. It's like, yes, he's 84. Like he's still touring. I don't know. And so I just really appreciated that, and that the Irish, as much as he respects Ireland and Irish people and Irish music and clearly reveres it, it's reciprocal. They love Bob Dylan, and I'm so grateful for that. So that was the one thing I would say about
Yeah,
that.
that was definitely, I had the same experience at immigration too. They were like, that's really
Really?
cool. Yeah. But can I tell you my story about some, like, I think I texted you guys when I got off the plane. But so when I got onto the plane in Dublin, there was a guy in my seat and I said, I think you're in my seat. And he was very apologetic. And I said, dude, if this tweaks me, then I have bigger problems. It's like not a big deal. So the whole flight goes on. We're getting off the plane and he had a really cool I think it was a Chicago music box or something shirt on. And I was like, cool
Oh,
shirt. And then he asked why I was in Dublin. I said I went to the Bob Dylan show. And he's like, did you? And I said, yeah. And he said, I was there too. And then, of course, I turned into like a freak, right? I'm
yeah.
like, did you totally bawl your eyes out at a rainy night in Soho? And he's like, he made a weird face and he's like, I work for him, so no. I was like, oh,
Oops,
cool.
awkward.
And so I figured out that he's a guitar tech for Dylan.
Nice,
And
nice.
I chatted with him for a few minutes, but I was just like, okay, well,
My
never
dream
mind
job.
then. I did. Yeah.
That's amazing. Well, let's, we've buried the lead enough. Let's talk about the moment. So I think there was a lot of anticipation. I think there's always anticipation, at least for me, that when I've been to a lot of final shows where nothing happens, nothing special. He just, plays whatever he plays. But I think for this, there's something about this felt like could something happen? It's Ireland. It just felt there was an energy. Yeah,
Let
Erin,
me remind you about our conversation on the walk to the bar, to the pub.
lay it on me.
And you said, are we going to get an encore? And Laura said no, and you said no, and I said, I'm going to be contrarian. We're definitely getting an encore.
Bravo.
And then I didn't expect it, which is even the funnier thing. When he launched into it, I was like, what? Yeah.
So I think there was, there had been these other Irish little things that happened. Mike, you mentioned the two songs he played. And so it seemed like we were due. Like it was, and it didn't happen for a couple nights. Like the second Killarney night, I don't think it happened. And maybe the second Belfast night didn't happen. And Mike, you had predicted a rainy night in Soho because you
No.
had seen it on the first Outlaw show of 2025. You flew to Arizona, you saw it, you were there that crazy night when he did that, and you predicted this. What was it about that song that made you think, I think Bob's Dylan's going to play that?
Well, I think it was just such a phenomenal performance when he did it in Phoenix. The first night of the Outlaw tour, and because the Pogues are from Dublin, it's just seemed logical. They had already, played it once. They knew the song. They had worked out the arrangement, and this was the first show Dylan had done in Dublin since Shane MacGowan died.
Right.
He had paid tribute to Shane at the last two shows.
Right.
By what he said.
Yeah, he wished him well, and
he's not feeling well, or he's
sort
not
of
doing
prayed
well,
for him
right.
in a way.
Yeah, right. He said, "We hope he makes another record real soon." Yeah. So it seemed logical. Also, I want to point out that there is a tribute album to Shane MacGowan coming out next year that his widow has teased. In interviews, and supposedly there's a lot of UK musicians and also a lot of American musicians, and she won't confirm who's on it. So
they don't need to do anything. Like Bob doesn't. All they need to do is just put that track that we saw on
give the light like he did with Mutineer for the Warren Zevon tribute. But we also know Dylan was in the studio in August for a couple days when he was doing the Outlaw tour. And so there's some speculation that he recorded a studio version of that.
Amazing. Well, so just to set up the moment, you could feel it throughout the arena. Like everyone is waiting when Every Grain of Sand, by the way, don't want to just like throw Every Grain of Sand under the bus. Like an all-timer, like still remains undefeated as show closer. The singing, the harmonica playing, the piano playing, like just perfect song, like to end a Bob Dylan show. And then I remember looking at Doug Lancio, who didn't take his guitar off. He like adjusted something and kind of took a step back. And I like grabbed Mike and I'm like, he's doing it. He's going to play. And then we literally jumped up and down like we're at the Eras tour or something. and And then it happened. He went into it, and the crowd just that roar. The crowd just erupted.
I turned to Daisy and she was like, an encore. And I just when I recognized the song, I just started crying.
Yeah. Oh
I
yeah.
don't
It was
know. I
very
mean, again,
emotional.
yeah, just the love in his voice when he sang
Yes.
it. The delivery was just it was sublime. And usually I feel that way about Every Grain of Sand, and I didn't think it could get any better, but
Right.
he really did bring it to another level that I I was bawling. I wasn't kidding when I talked to that guitar tech. I
The,
was
that second sort of there's no chorus, but
right,
there's like that he there's like a part in the song like about halfway through where it feels like a chorus, like everyone kind of
right,
swelled together
right.
singing.
There's a build,
There's
right.
a build, and that was when I lost it because like those two drunk guys behind me, it was like they were in a pub.
They were singing along.
They were singing
Right.
along,
We don't
and it
get
was like
sing-alongs with Dylan. That's the thing,
right,
is that we could, right?
right,
Yeah, yeah.
That's what made
Well,
it even more special.
yeah.
right.
I mean, I've told people since then that there was no song because I was telling my partner's family over Thanksgiving. I said there was no song that Bob Dylan could have. There was no Bob Dylan song that Bob Dylan could have played that would have gotten that same reaction.
Right.
If he had played Like a Rolling Stone, it would not have blown the roof off the joint the way that it did when he played Rainy Night in Soho.
There was a moment where as the roof was blowing off towards the end of the song, Bob got up at his piano and is like it's ineffable. Like I can't describe it. There was something that happened. There was like this transmission of energy from Bob getting up at the piano, and it was like he was pushing those notes like into my body. Do you know what am I
Yeah,
insane right now?
No, yeah, it's
totally.
perfect.
No,
And the crowd stood up with him, which
Yeah.
was just like
everybody stood.
Because at
it was
first Mike and I were going to be up the whole time, and then the people behind us started down in fronting us, which was crazy. It was the last song, but whatever. We
right.
sat down. But then yeah, he willed everyone to stand up. Was the whole arena up, Aaron, at that point? Like did
Hmm.
you
Yeah.
oh,
Like, how could you not be? Like he stood up and I feel like it was just like, yeah, he rose us from our seats like with his
right.
own energy.
Yeah, yeah. And there was kind of a long instrumental coda to the song where they
Mhm.
kind of played the melody slower and slower. And,
Right.
he was standing up for that whole last part of the song, and everybody was standing along
Hmm.
with him. So that was unusual because he was seated for really the whole show. He would
Right.
stand up in between songs, but during the
Mhm.
actual performance, we saw the top of his head.
That cute curly hair, yeah.
Yeah. So it's like when he stands up, it's a big deal. It kind of recalibrates your whole.
He's so manipulative. Like for years and years, like he took away the guitar, so now he like sits with his back to us and plays one like intro of a song. We're like, he played guitar, and then like
Yeah.
now he's like he'll like play harmonica on one song. He played harmonica, and now it's like you don't get to see him the whole show. We saw the top of his head.
Exactly. Yeah. But no, you're right. There was something very moving about it.
Yeah.
It's like he did it on purpose. He was feeling it.
He was
It
moved
was so
also.
generous. I mean, like
Yeah.
that's what I think it was. Like it was such a generous moment.
It was generous. Yes, he did the thing we wanted him to do. Like he actually did it instead of
Right.
being Bob Dylan and not doing it.
Which
Right.
is the
Right.
most Bob Dylan thing he could have done.
Yeah, and
Right.
we would have said, "Thank you, sir. May I have another?"
Well, now to talk about last shows,
Mhm.
Henry, you and I were at Evansville, Indiana, which was the last show of 2023.
Yes, December 1st. Yeah,
Yes.
a rare
And,
December show.
yeah, and that was a good show. And I, part of the reason why I went was because it was close, but the other reason is, it was the last show of the year, and I was hoping for something special. And it was it was kind of a normal rough and rowdy show. And later, someone posted the set list, and he did have Only a River, the Bob Weir, Josh Ritter song that he did twice before. That was
As an alt.
That was an alternate, and he chose not to do it. So, the thing about Dylan that not everybody understands, but it's important to understand, is that he does what he feels like in the moment. And for whatever reason, and I don't think it's also a coincidence that the 2 times he did Only a River before that, it was the last show of a leg of a tour.
Mm-hmm.
He did it at the last show of the Japanese leg in 23, and then he did it at the last show of the European leg in the summer, which was Rome.
Mm-hmm.
So there's something about that song that for him is a kind of a farewell,
Mm-hmm.
you know. And but then in Evansville, he just wasn't feeling it, and he
wasn't feeling it. Yeah.
Do you think it's the crowd?
I do.
Sometimes, yeah.
And maybe also his own energy level, his own mood. But
right.
I think if I think if things had not, if he hadn't been feeling the love that we gave him that night, maybe he wouldn't have done it at all.
Maybe.
Maybe he would have turned to Tony and said, "That's it," and walked off. That's what I believe.
I think the only other last show I've been to was the Austin show where Jimmy Vaughn played.
Yeah, that was pretty special.
That was pretty great.
Just a little bit. Jimmy Vaughn came out.
Yeah, it was really good.
That's awesome.
And I think I was wondering too, since you've been to last shows, is there an energy to the last show? Like this is it for a while, and they kind of bring their best selves. That's what I felt at both of the last shows I've been at. Like there just feels like a different energy.
Could be. I think in Evansville it didn't feel that way. I think sometimes at the Outlaw shows it does feel that way. I mean I think the end of Outlaw, I think it felt like that at the end of Outlaw in Tinley Park. The end of Outlaw this time around, there was so much like aggravation and consternation with the hoodie gate, and everything, with Bob wearing the hood and hiding behind everything, that people were mad, and I think he was mad. So I didn't feel that at the last show of Outlaw, but that's a different thing. I think there's something about Rough and Rowdy Ways where he really enjoys playing it, and so if he is feeling it, something special is gonna happen. Yeah,
well, I felt like almost with Jimmy Vaughn that it was like the Let It Be sessions where when Billy Preston comes in, there's this new energy, and like everybody's so happy, and Court,
they kind of want to impress him. They behave because they want to impress him. Yeah,
Court said it looked like Christmas morning Tony because he had this big smile on his face, and so there was just a different energy on the stage. So that was kind of cool. But, I don't know.
It could be. I mean, I think also there's, at least for me, sometimes with the Rough and Rowdy Ways tour, not this last spring because Outlaw was already in the books. It was already had tickets to it, but I think the year before, like I also feel like anxiety at the last show because you don't know what's going to happen. Like had this been the last Rough and Rowdy Ways tour, that would have been amazing from a historical perspective, but I think I would have felt like tremendous anxiety as to, is Bob Dylan ever going to tour again? What's going to happen? I think we have that sometimes when we don't hear from him during 100%. The winter. He kind of hibernates for the winter, and then all of a sudden, spring dates on sale tomorrow. Like, oh my god, So
it's such a gift, though.
I know. So this one, he like actually had like he's like such a mensch. He actually had like the kindness to tell us about 2026 like 3 weeks ago, and so we could actually there wasn't that anxious energy or that will we ever see him again. It's like, all right, now and here we are, on recording this on the day we bought tickets to see him next. Like we have something on the books next. We're gonna see him.
And why
again.
aren't you coming to Abilene? Because you don't know if it's the last time, and that's Abilene, Mike. Abilene, not Dallas.
Wait, is the last show in Texas?
Yes.
Abilene, Texas.
Abilene, not Dallas.
It's on a Saturday.
Mike, you're already. Mike, I know.
Mike, just come. We'll do a road trip.
Looking into
Aaron, you can talk me into anything.
All you need to do is just have a breakfast and coffee with Mike, and
it's going to happen by the end of this conversation. I'm just saying, will you fly to Houston?
Okay,
jump in the car.
Tell me where to fly.
The correct city this time.
Right, the right city, and then we will drive to Tyler. Go to Tyler, then to we'll do a road trip, and we can film the whole thing.
Yeah. Okay. Well, I might only be able to make Abilene, though.
All right, that's fine too.
Yeah.
Where is Abilene?
Where should I fly?
Well, you still fly to Houston because I'll have to pit stop back in Houston after Tyler, I think. But we can work that. We can work out the details along the way.
I'm in. I mean,
That was so easy. Don't threaten me with a good time, Erin. All right.
Don't threaten me
it's
with
the
the
last
last Bob Dylan show.
the last one.
Oh, good thing my wife doesn't listen to the podcast. So,
Well, Henry, you're coming too.
I clearly.
That's where we're going. Yeah.
How
I've
can
never
you
seen him in
not?
Texas. I mean, I do look at those things. Like, I wouldn't call it a bucket list, but like now that I've seen him in a number of states, it's like, oh, check off another state,
I mean,
Yeah,
you should.
interesting. Okay.
I see, like the wheels are turning.
This is not good for me. This is not
I am
healthy.
the devil on everyone's shoulder right now.
Well, we deviled you to come to Dublin, so
That's true. It's
Those are-
really, I mean, I'm like Mike. It's not that hard. Like, okay.
Do you feel? I feel like really satisfied about Europe. Like I did it. I can check it off. Do you feel like if he did another Europe tour, you would need to go, or you feel good?
I think I saw him in Paris in 2024. So I think I would want to see him in Rome. That would be the
Mm,
only European city I might want to go to. I want to go see him in Asia. I think if he went back to Japan, I would maybe make
really?
that trip. Well, Matthew Ingate talks about the Japan shows were the best shows he ever saw. It was the best place that he went to see Dylan too, because he said the city was as or more interesting than Dylan.
Mm,
So that might be on my bucket list if he goes
interesting.
back to Asia.
I love
How
that
about
Bob, like everyone was speculating, like South America, Australia, and he's like, no, just the Midwest again, and the
Abilene?
South. Yeah.
What about you, Mike? Would you go back to Europe?
Absolutely, I would.
Like
You know,
anywhere.
but I feel like I would go anywhere at this point because
You just want to see him.
at the age of 84, with each year, each passing year, I feel like we never know
Right.
Right.
how many more shows there are going to be, and I feel like before the pandemic, there was a period of time where I really did take him for granted. There were
Mhm.
shows I didn't go to in Chicago,
Same.
which now seems
Same.
insane.
Right.
And the reason why I didn't go is because I thought, oh, well, he doesn't have a new album out. Like I've seen him since his last album, so I'll just wait until the next one. But then when COVID happened and he took a year and a half off, I think all of us realized there may never be another show at all.
Right.
So the Rough and Rowdy Ways tour has been kind of a triumphant final act for him as an artist. The fact that he's played, God knows, I mean, 276 Rough and Rowdy shows plus the 2 Outlaw tours. But who knows how long it's going to be. I mean, my other musical hero, Leonard Cohen, played his last show at age 79, and nobody would have thought that would have been the end of the line for him.
Right.
So I'm all in no matter where he is.
That's a great. I love that. Yeah. I mean, it's so true. Like, Mike, we were talking with Kate Runovich from the Bob Dylan fan club that like, if he is touring, it is our responsibility to go see him. Like,
Yeah.
we have to. We just have to go. It's an
Yeah.
obligation. Yeah.
I mean, it also depends on what else is going on in my life.
Right. I mean, if you're making a movie, maybe.
Yeah.
But I think it's interesting. It just dawned on me, Mike, that the first Rough and Rowdy show that I saw in December of 2021, I met you at that, not at the show, at the airport, coming back from that show in DC.
Yeah.
And so
Yeah. We talked the night before. After
did we?
Yeah, you were there at that little.
Yeah, I was at that little outside bar. My friend Jason was there, and so I think I spent most of the time talking to Jason. So I'm not
That's
sure.
right.
Yeah.
No, we didn't really have a deep conversation until the next morning.
Right, and we have very profound airport conversations.
Oh, those are the best.
Right.
That's our shtick. But I've been on like the Rough and Rowdy Ways tour, sort of like I've been on it with you since the beginning. We've seen several together. That's insane.
Yeah, and I realize with tickets now to Waukegan and Rockford in spring of 26, I will have seen at least one show for every year of the tour from 2021 to 2026. That's
Same.
six calendar years. I mean, that's a lot,
That's
you
amazing. I
know?
only
Mhm.
missed 2022. That was the only year I did when he did the Southwest
Yeah, he
and the
came
West
nowhere
Coast.
near. I flew
Yeah,
to
you.
Austin for that.
Yeah,
Yeah.
yeah. I didn't. I missed that one year. That's the only. Yeah, and and Mike, we should say like Dublin was a big deal for you. That was your 100th show.
Yeah.
Like
Yeah, 100.
so.
Yeah, it was a milestone.
So
So
that's kind of a big deal.
it is.
A
Yeah.
So
huge
now you'll get
deal.
101 and 102. So yeah, Aaron, did you ever figure out your number?
I have no, I just
No.
I'd have to sit down and write them. I just or look through
Bob
his
served.
set list, yeah, or Bob Serve or something to figure out.
Go to
I know
Bob's.
my first show was in 1995. I know that was with the Dead. That I know for
Wow.
certain.
Yeah.
Wow.
Yeah.
That's awesome. That's great. Great. Well, do we want to say anything else about Dublin or the Rough and Rowdy Ways tour?
I don't know. I mean,
We'll
I'm
see him in
just
2026. I mean, we can run
we
this back as
will.
many times as we want.
Well,
Yeah.
I would just like to say it was a genuinely great show. I
Mhm.
didn't listen to it until tonight to prepare for this podcast because I'm not the biggest bootleg listener, but I thought, oh, I should refresh my memory. And, you know, in my memory, I thought it was a little slow to start. I thought,
Me
oh,
too.
it didn't really kick in until False Prophet.
Right.
However, when I listened to the bootleg, I was like, wait, he sounds
What was
great.
I thinking?
Yeah, like no, he's like locked in on "I'll Be Your Baby Tonight," you
Mhm.
know. So it really was a great show, and
You're saying that like it's sort of just on its own stands alone as a great Bob Dylan concert.
yeah,
Yeah.
absolutely,
Mhm.
absolutely, it was great no matter where it would have been, you
Hmm.
know, if I had been there or not. It's a fun listen,
Hmm.
and I
Great.
think it bodes well for the future. You know, I think
I agree.
he's got a
Yeah.
lot of energy, and there's no reason why he can't keep it going.
I've been fielding a lot of messages from folks over the last few days, Bob Dylan friends, ranging from I'm so excited that the Rough and Rowdy Ways tour is continuing to this is fine, but I wish he had a new album coming out to I'm ready for something else. Where's the new album or something like that? And I I really understand that feeling. I personally would be happy if he did Rough and Rowdy Ways for the rest
Forever.
forever. I just
Right.
but I also understand that feeling of this was amazing and I'm ready for something else. They both feel true to me, but I'm sort of game for whatever he wants to do at this point.
I feel like he's doing something with the tour, and I just, it always takes us a while to catch up to it. And I get that because I have a good friend, a Dylan friend, who's like, "All right, guy, change up the set list. Like we're over this now." And I'm like, "Are we though?" And
Yeah. I'm
I'm
not.
I'm not, and I want to meet him where he is, and I want to,
Right.
take what he is giving to us and performing to us and preparing for us and try to understand, the ins and outs of it and what it is. And I'm just here for it. And like Mike, wherever he goes, I'll go too.
Amen. Yeah.
Yeah.
Great.
Yeah, and then I mean the other thing is, he used to vary the set lists quite dramatically from
Mhm.
night to
Right.
night, but now it's like he's varying the arrangements from night to night, and
Right.
that's what you have to appreciate in order to get something out of it, which of course we all do. On paper, maybe it does look boring, but when you're there, it's exciting.
It's
No, I
magical.
remember when I came to Chicago in 2023, someone said to me, "You're going to see the same show 3 nights in a row." And I was like, "It's never the same show."
Mm.
Yeah.
And just for that, for the arrangements and also the energy of the crowd, because that second night in Chicago, the crowd was very low key, I think.
Until the Grateful Dead song.
Right.
Then they
And then
came
everybody
alive.
went nuts.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Yeah. And then night three, he was low energy. The band was low energy. The crowd was low energy. Yeah. Yeah. Yeah, it's you're right. It is a different show every night. I should start saying that because people say that to me all the time. You're going to see him the same show 3 nights in a row. I'm like,
Right.
yeah,
But I think Mike said it so eloquently, like on paper, it looks like the same show, but when
It's
you're
not.
there, and then again, it reinforces what he's saying about his songs aren't meant to be read, they're meant to be heard in performance. And so if you read the lyrics or read the set list, you're not getting the full experience of what's actually happening when he performs those songs.
Right. Yeah. I mean, I also, Mike and I kind of made a pact not to listen to any of the recordings for this particular one. And usually I do. I listen to every single, I'm like on Expect You Rain.
Same.
I'm listening to every single night. I want to hear everything. I think at a certain point, I would like cherry pick some of the songs I wanted to hear, like Desolation Row or something.
Mm-hmm.
This one I like wanted to go in cold. I wanted to experience what it felt like to hear Key West that first night in Milwaukee in 2021 for the first time, as close to that feeling as possible. And
Right.
certainly with my own version of You, I got that. Like I remember my jaw dropping and just staring at the top of his head for like a good two verses of just,
Mm-hmm.
and there were other moments like that. I also feel like the fact that he is the quote unquote hits that he is playing, the stuff from the 60s, I
Mm-hmm.
just feel really like honored that he would play that song for me, that he would play Desolation Row for me. Like until he brought back Desolation Row and Outlaw and Rough and Ready Ways, I had seen it twice. It was one of those ones like I always missed the night, the night before, the night after, but
Right.
I had seen it twice. And now it's like one of my most heard songs because I've seen so many Rough and Rowdy Ways. I mean, so is I'll Be Your Baby Tonight, but like,
Mm-hmm.
but I'm like so grateful for that like I have seen more than 10 Desolation Rows. Like to
Right.
me, that's like a really special thing. And again, I feel a responsibility that if he is still playing Desolation Row and It's All Over Now, Baby Blue, and It Ain't Me, Babe, it is our responsibility to go see him play those things while he still is.
Right. I agree.
Great. I'm glad we're all in agreement.
Of course. This
Awesome.
is why this works.
Yeah.
Well,
Yeah.
I want to kind of, before we sign off, I do
Yeah.
want to speculate a little bit about the future.
Okay, Mike.
Please do.
Make your predictions because you're pretty good.
Yeah, I've
You're
got nothing.
50-50. You're
Please,
50%.
please tell us.
So I do, while I, like you, Henry, am content to watch Rough and Rowdy forever, if that's how he wants to go out, I do feel like a new album is coming. I think this is my guess, and it's based on nothing other than a hunch, that he's going to go into the studio early 26. I think after the spring Rough and Rowdy tour, I expect him to do Outlaw again and then drop a new album in the fall and then do a major nationwide tour of big cities in support of the new album. And I think, the only shred of evidence I have to support that is it's not even evidence. It's the fact that he's not playing any big cities on this tour. I think he's, by the time the fall rolls around, it will have been 3 years since he played Chicago.
All right. Yeah.
He's never gone that long before between Chicago dates. I think on the whole never-ending tour, certainly not in the 21st century. He's never
same with New York City. Like,
yeah, same with New York City. Exactly.
Right.
So that leads me to believe he has something up his sleeve.
Okay. You heard it here first, folks.
But if he doesn't, that's fine too.
Mm-hmm. Great. Thank you guys so much. Can't wait to see you at the next Rough and Rowdy Ways show.
I can't wait to see you. Well, yeah. Come to Texas, Henry.
Okay. All right. We'll work on it.
It's not as convincing as Mike was.
Thanks, guys.
Thanks so much for asking us, Henry.
Sure thing.
Yep.
See you guys.
Thank you so much for listening and watching. Look for the next episode on the 15th day of the month in all of your podcast feeds. If you're subscribing to Apple Podcasts, please take a moment and give us a rating or review. It's the best way to spread the word about the show. For a video version of the podcast, please subscribe to our YouTube channel at Songs of Bob Dylan. You can, of course, email us at songsofbobdylan@gmail.com. Thank you to my friend and mentor, Rob Kelly, for designing our fabulous logo, and to my mandolin teacher, Mark Mitchell, from the Old Town School of Folk Music in Chicago, for teaching me how to play the intro and the outro. If you'd like to help help support the cost of hosting my podcasts, go to patreon.com/gonzo3249. For $5, I'll show my gratitude by giving you a shout out. So thank you to Rob Kelly, Joachim Meckel, Roberta Rakove, Matt Simonson, Christopher Vani. For $10, I'll send you a surprise piece of vintage Bob Dylan merch. So thank you to the girl from the North Country, Katie Surovic. Thank you to my Substack subscribers, Mark Godfrey, Linda Maltzby, George Pasella, Bonnie Ramba, Nancy Cobb, and Peter White. You can check that out at henrybernstein.substack.com. Truly, I love you all. Thank you again, and see you next time.